2019 was a memorable year in games. Sony and Microsoft revealed the first details of their next-gen hardware, Google announced Stadia, Kojima finally released his post-Konami game Death Stranding, Microsoft acquired the beloved studio Double Fine, and Bungie went indie. All in all, this year provided excitement for all types of gamers on all types of platforms. But littered throughout these moments of joy were duds, delays, and decisions that left us feeling a bit down. Let's recap on some of those letdowns with our top 8 biggest video game disappointments of 2019. WWE 2K20. Since taking over the official WWE license in 2013, 2K has been consistent with its annual release of quality wrestling games. Until this year's WWE 2K20, that is. Behind the scenes, 2K ended its partnership with longtime WWE developer Yuke's, making 2K20 its first WWE game developed solely by Visual Concepts. As the first line in our review reads, WWE 2K20 is a mess. Even more egregious than its litany of bugs and glitches and, quote, PS2-era character models is the woefully outdated gameplay and worsened collision detection and targeting systems. Its severe dip in quality is a massive disappointment for fans who look forward to the year's only licensed WWE game. Crackdown III. It may be hard to remember, but there was a period of time in which enthusiasm for Crackdown 3 was high. That sentiment existed around Crackdown 3's E3 2014 reveal, when Microsoft showcased a next-gen take on the cult classic series, featuring a cooperative open world with large-scale cloud-powered destructible environments. That destruction was only possible thanks to Microsoft's expansive cloud infrastructure, which reportedly allowed Crackdown 3 to leverage the computing power of 20 standard Xbox Ones. It was a truly next-gen concept, and expectations were set accordingly high. Then came the years of intermittent silence, a series of delays, and continuous poor showings at conventions. These warning signs softened the eventual blow of disappointment, but we still wonder what Crackdown 3 could have been had Microsoft been able to execute on that original premise. When it finally launched in February, Crackdown 3 was panned by critics. Our own Crackdown 3 review gave it a 5, calling its gameplay, quote, really satisfying busywork, and noting how the promised cloud-powered destruction is, quote, never used to great effect.
Welcome to the agency!
Sony Skips E3. Between its now famous game-sharing video in 2013, Final Fantasy VII Remake reveal in 2015, and the entirety of its 2016 show, during which Days Gone, Death Stranding, God of War, and Marvel's Spider-Man were all announced, Sony made a name for itself as this generation's most consistently exciting and unpredictable E3 presenter. So naturally, it was a massive bummer when the company announced that it would be skipping the expo in 2019. In addition to missing out on potential reveals and closer looks at its upcoming lineup, The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghosts of Tsushima, to name 2, Sony's absence also meant a disappearance of E3's most compelling drama, PlayStation versus Xbox. Yes, console wars are trivial, but there's a theater to E3, and at the heart of that theater is a heavyweight showdown between two of the world's biggest names in games. Even Xbox head Phil Spencer said E3, quote, is not as good without PlayStation. It's unclear if PlayStation will come back for E3 2020, but with PS5 launching next holiday, we'd be surprised not to see it return. And for the sake of the expo, we really hope it does. Reggie retires from Nintendo. Reggie Fils-Aimé introduced himself on the gaming world's biggest stage at E3 2004 by saying,
My name is Reggie, I'm about kicking ass, I'm about taking names, and we're about making games.
What followed next is what Nintendo fans call the Reggie-lution, a turning point for the company and its public image led by its new executive, Vice President of Sales and Marketing. 3 years later, the new face of Nintendo's American arm was named President and COO, a position he would hold for nearly 13 years before retiring in April. Reggie is credited as a pivotal player in the success of Nintendo through the 2000s. His keen business sense helped Wii and DS become two of the all-time best-selling consoles. His charisma, humility, and overall positivity brought renewed enthusiasm to Nintendo fandom. We were extremely disappointed to see him go. But Reggie's departure did give the community the most appropriately named video game executive of all time, Doug Bowser. Big game delays. We've come to accept delays as a necessary part of game development. As an off-cited Miyamoto quote goes, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is bad forever. However, that doesn't make delays any less disappointing, and 2019 had some big ones. Among the most notable games delayed from 2019 to 2020 were Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Wasteland 3, and Psychonauts 2. And while it was never slated as a 2019 game, The Last of Us Part 2 was pushed from February to May 2020, making the wait for the already long-awaited sequel even longer. These delays may have disappointed this year, but if you look on the bright side, they give us plenty to look forward to as we roll into 2020.
You can't stop this.
Fallout 76's subscription service. When Bethesda announced it was taking its beloved single-player franchise online, fans were skeptical. When the lead-up to the release was marred by controversy and poor communication, fans were frustrated. When it was released with myriad bugs and server issues, fans were angry. Then, when Bethesda revealed its $13 a month or $100 a year premium subscription service called Fallout First, the fandom hit its breaking point. The subscription service, which at its monthly rate costs more than Netflix's base package, Hulu, Disney+, Apple TV+, Xbox Live Gold, Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, or PlayStation Now, provides access to few, relatively unsubstantial features, which include private servers, unlimited storage for crafting components, a placeable fast travel point, in-game currency, outfits, and emotes. It's hard to pinpoint what's most disappointing about Fallout First. Locking features behind a subscription service in a game that already requires an entry fee, the absurdity of its pricing structure compared to similar services, or the lack of substantial content provided those who pay? Take your pick. Fallout 76 was undoubtedly one of 2018's biggest disappointments, and thanks to its poorly realized subscription service, it's back as our sole repeat entry in 2019. If there was an award for consistent disappointments in a game, Fallout 76 would definitely hold the trophy for that. Anthem. Anthem was bound to go one of two ways. 1. It ushered in a new age of BioWare RPGs that mixed the excellent writing and gameplay systems of its past with the shared world shooter genre of the future. Or 2. Taking a BioWare RPG online would water down what made its previous games great and result in a lackluster identity crisis. Shortly after its launch in February, it's clear which road Anthem had gone down. Further, in a move that was as necessary as it was disappointing, BioWare announced it was abandoning Anthem's original post-launch content plan, which featured narrative-focused acts, opting instead to address its core issues. It would have been nice to see BioWare and EA's experiment pay off, considering its place in an industry where financial burdens and unreasonable sales expectations make risk-taking near impossible, but it missed the mark, and instead landed at a spot on the most disappointing game of 2019.
That was probably hard to say to my face.
Blizzard bans Blitzchung. It's not often a company in the game space has the opportunity to make a meaningful statement on global crisis. So when Blizzard squandered that opportunity following Hearthstone player Blitzchung's public support of Hong Kong, it was a disappointment that, comparatively, makes every other entry on this list trifling. A quick refresher. Hearthstone Grandmaster's competitor Yingwei or Blitzchung Chung voiced his support for the Hong Kong protests during a post-match interview. Blizzard responded by banning Blitzchung from Hearthstone esports for a year, rescinding his prize money and announcing its plans to, quote, immediately cease working with the casters who conducted the interview. Blitzchung's punishment has since then been reduced to 6 months, and Blizzard has agreed to pay out his winnings. However, the backlash was severe. Community members, pro players, casters, game industry professionals, Blizzard employees, and even United States lawmakers expressed their disapproval of the company's judgment, causing #BoycottBlizzard to trend across social media. Blizzard eventually offered an apology by way of President J. Allen Brack.
We moved too quickly in our decision-making. We were too slow to talk with all of you.
Though the gaming world seems to have largely moved on, the Blizzard's Blitzchung saga highlights the still-present, ever-growing issue of media's conciliatory attitude towards China and its stringent censorship. In a follow-up interview with IGN, Brack was clearly understanding of and receptive to the criticism, though he didn't address if Blizzard's interest in the Chinese market played into its decision. His apology seemed sincere, but frankly, the damage has already been done. And with Blitzchung still banned from competitive play, the disappointment towards Blizzard's response remains as valid today as it was in early October. Even with these letdowns in 2019, we're hoping for bigger and better news in the gaming community next year. With talks of the PS5, Project Scarlet, The Last of Us Part 2, and Animal Crossing New Horizons coming in 2020, we're keeping our hopes up for a promising year of exciting announcements. What are you looking forward to playing in 2020? What were some of your most disappointing game announcements this year? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to keep it here at IGN for more gaming content.